challenge, but not come across as being too aloof is the question. You know, it's very funny, 30 years ago when I met my husband, little did I know that I was a complete challenge, and I didn't do that purposely. I was trying to make the guy before him jealous, so I really wasn't paying attention to him, and for him it was a big challenge. Now that I know him, he was determined to get me married, and he was doing nothing until I did. He was stopping at nothing until I did. You know, the world's worst thing that you could do is play a game with a guy, because games are not a good thing. You know, you don't want to be available all the time, but you also don't want to be unavailable. So basically, if a guy, give me an example of what you think you are doing right or wrong.
I don't know, I think it's that availability thing. Trying to get to the next date, but not
being available every time you want it. Well, you know, it's really a case-by-case situation in terms of a guy's behavior is how you know if a man is ready to be in a relationship. Meaning, if you go out with a guy on a first date, and I'll tell you exactly how my clients behave, and that's how I know that they're ready. When you go out with a guy on a first date, clearly you had a great time. Whether you closed the restaurant or whether you just, nobody looked at their watch, you know, you had a 7:30 or an 8 o'clock dinner and you didn't get home until 12:30 or 1 o'clock. That's not a long time. It's not an hour and a half dinner. It's not a 2-hour dinner. You saw yourself laughing a lot. You had a lot in common. The conversation was easy. You had fun. You really had fun. He walks you home or puts you in a cab, sends you home, gives the cab driver a 20 and says, get her home safe. Says to you, if he puts you in a cab, let me know when you get home. Something caring or some kind of an action that there could be a next date and he does care about you. If he's really interested, depending on the guy, he will either ask you out on the date for a next date, maybe something you talked about, maybe a movie you want to see, maybe a show, something you talked about on the date. Maybe he might say something about it to do on date number 2. But if you don't hear from him pretty quickly, literally within, say, 48 to 72 hours, he's probably not a commitment-minded, focused guy looking for a relationship. So my point to you is if you're dating a guy, or if you went out with a guy on a Tuesday night, and he calls you over the weekend, clearly didn't ask you out for the weekend, but he calls you Saturday afternoon, and says something like, what are you doing for brunch tomorrow morning? That would be your choice on whether or not you felt that was, you know, Jesus, why did he wait until Saturday to call me until Sunday? Is he a planner? Is he a last-minute kind of guy? Like, you know, you need to pay attention to these things, because those are the things that on your list. Do I want a guy that is going to be like that? Do I want a man with a plan? Or is this going to be a last-minute kind of guy? Like, he has to ask you out on dates in advance when it, you know, first starts. You have to train him from the get-go. If somebody was calling me on a Saturday afternoon for